Have you ever felt like there's just too much going wrong in your life? You keep thinking about what you didn't get, what you lost, and what you wish would change.
But what if I told you that maybe your circumstances don't have to change first? Maybe you just need to learn how to see what you still have. By the end of this story, I hope you'll be able to look beyond what's missing and notice the things in your life that are still worth being grateful for. And we'll understand this through a simple story.
In the middle of a scorching desert lived a tiny butterfly. Her wings were badly damaged. Their colors had faded, and whenever she tried to fly, she could only rise for a few seconds before falling back onto the burning sand. She had no safe place to stay, no water, no food. Every day, she struggled just to survive. And as the sun beat down on her, she often wondered, when will all of this suffering finally end? One afternoon, while she was lying weakly on the hot sand and staring up at the sky, a small, beautiful bird flew overhead. The butterfly gathered what little strength she had left and called out, "Please, wait." The little bird came down and landed nearby. The butterfly looked at her and asked, "Where are you going?" The bird smiled gently. "I'm on my way to heaven. I'm going to see God." For the first time in a long while, a little hope appeared in the butterfly's eyes. She said, "Then could you ask God something for me? Please ask him when my suffering will end. Ask him when my good days will finally come." The little bird promised to carry her question to heaven. Then she flew away. When the bird reached heaven, she told an angel about the tiny butterfly. The angel opened a great book and quietly looked at what was written there. After a moment, his expression became serious. "She still has 10 years of suffering written in her destiny," he said. "She has a long road ahead of her." The little bird felt heartbroken. "Isn't there anything we can do to help her?" she asked. The angel was silent for a moment. Then he smiled. "There is one thing she can do. Tell her to stop complaining about everything she doesn't have. Tell her to start noticing what she still has. And every time she feels overwhelmed, let her say this: 'Dear God, thank you for still blessing me with what I have, even in this difficult season.'" The little bird returned to the desert and shared God's message with the butterfly. The butterfly was stunned. 10 years. It felt like her last bit of hope had disappeared. But then she looked up at the sky and she made a decision. She would stop cursing her circumstances. She would start looking for something, anything, to be grateful for. The next afternoon, the desert heat became almost unbearable. The butterfly collapsed onto the burning sand. This time, instead of crying or complaining, she looked toward the sky and whispered, "Dear God, I don't have any water, but I still have breath in my body. Thank you for that." A little later, the thirst became unbearable again. There wasn't a single drop of water anywhere around her. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Dear God, I still don't have water, but I'm still alive, and I still have enough strength to hope for water. Thank you." The next day, her body felt even weaker. Even walking was becoming difficult. Still, she looked toward heaven and said, "God, I feel weak, but you gave me another day. Thank you for that." Slowly, something began to change. Not in the desert, inside her. She no longer woke up every morning asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, she began asking, "What do I still have today?" When she found a little shade, she gave thanks. When a cool breeze touched her wings, she gave thanks. When she watched the sun disappear beyond the horizon, she gave thanks. Her circumstances were still the same, but her heart was changing. And then something happened that she never expected. Tiny new wings began growing from her body. At first, they were small and delicate. Then, day by day, color slowly returned. Her wings grew stronger. The butterfly was still living in the desert, but now she had something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. One morning, she looked up and saw dark clouds gathering across the sky. A few moments later, rain began to fall. The same desert that had been dry for so long was finally being soaked with rain. Water began collecting in the sand. A small pool formed. Then, little by little, green grass began appearing around it. Tiny plants started growing, and the place that had once been nothing but burning sand slowly began to fill with life. That morning, the butterfly spread her new wings. She felt the wind beneath them. She tried to fly. For the first time, she rose into the air, only for a moment. Then she fell back down. She tried again. This time, she flew a little higher, and then she was flying. 10 days after the little bird had first met her, the bird flew over the desert again. She looked down and could hardly believe her eyes. The burning desert was now covered with patches of green. There was a small pool of water, and high above it, a beautiful butterfly was flying through the blue sky. The little bird immediately flew back to heaven. She found the angel and asked, "You told me she had 10 years of suffering ahead of her. How did everything change in just 10 days?" The angel quietly answered, "Yes, 10 years of suffering were written in her destiny. But when she stopped counting everything she didn't have and started counting the blessings she still had, gratitude changed the weight she was carrying. Complaining makes life feel heavier, but gratitude makes the heart lighter." The butterfly didn't change her life in a single day. First, she changed the way she saw her life, and that change became the beginning of her miracle. The lesson from this story is simple. Gratitude doesn't just change the way we think. Sometimes it can open the door to a miracle. When we thank God, even in difficult seasons, we begin to notice blessings we were too focused to see before. Sometimes a miracle comes by changing our circumstances, and sometimes it begins by changing what happens inside us. So starting today, don't only count what you're missing, count what you still have, because your next miracle may begin with gratitude.